Hi folks, welcome to my stay-at-home workout and thanks for joining me. It's day 2 this week. That means we're focusing on upper body pull. So we're definitely going to get some rows in there. But before we get into that, I'm just going to show you what equipment I'm working with today. I've got a 10-pound ball for my weight. I've got my little mat here. And then I've got a resistance band. It's about 1/2 inch in width. That's actually all I'm going to use today. And before we get into resistance work, of course, I always start with a little bit of core bracing. We want that core engaged and braced 360 degrees around the spine so we are ready for those bigger lifts when we do get there. So a couple exercises for you today for the core bracing. One is going to be knee tucks, and another is another one of my new favorites, which is going to be side plank Copenhagen variation. So for that, I'm actually going to use this couch. There's some space underneath and there's a little bit of space on top, kind of like a bench in a gym. So if you have something similar, or perhaps just a chair that's against the wall and isn't going to move on you, that will come in handy for that exercise. And I'll show you why when we get there. But first, let's do those knee tucks. So the idea with this one is it's kind of a dead bug variation, but it's a little bit more challenging. You're going to have your arms by your sides. They're pretty much inactive in this exercise. You're going to have your knees, to begin with, bent at about a 90 there, up in the air like that. You want to take a big bracing breath. The point of that is you want to fill this area up with air and stick those lower back ribs to the ground. Now your knees are going to come down one at a time and your heels are going to tap the ground, but when they do, you got to keep your lower back ribs stuck to the ground, okay? So the temptation when your legs go down, your lumbar spine wants to arch, but you can't let that happen, okay? So keep resetting your breath if you need to. Take those big bracing breaths and keep those back ribs stuck down, okay? You're going to keep the core nice and tight the whole time, and you're going to keep this 90-degree bend here. We're going to do 10 per leg, okay? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, didn't quite tap there. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Relaxing there. Now we're going to switch into a little side plank variation. It's called the Copenhagen. I assume because that's where it was invented. The idea here is we're going to side plank from the elbow. The upper arm's going to be straight up and down as with any side plank. We're going to be squeezing that elbow in towards the torso and tightening up the oblique here. But basically we're going to elevate the feet. So one leg's going to be on top of that surface and another leg's going to be on bottom, and you're going to be clamping the whole time with both legs, sort of just clamping on there. And what that does is it engages the adductor muscles in the hips, those muscles that bring your legs together, and so there's an extra little bang for your buck on this one. We get a little bit of lower body work. A few different ways you can do this. It's just going to be easier if you start from the knee. If you want to make it harder, maybe go about halfway down the shin, and hardest of all, right from the ankle. Okay, so however you want to approach it. And if you don't have a raised surface, just hit a classic side plank with your feet stacked or strided like so. Simple. Same form. You're going to be a straight line from the bottom of your foot to the top of your head. Your core is going to be obviously super tight. I like to point my toes up to keep the lower body tight too, and you want to think ribs down, so you don't want to pop that rib cage because that means you are arching your spine. Okay, so let's bridge up. We're going to hold here for approximately 20 seconds. I'm squeezing this elbow in towards my side. I'm clamping the whole time with both legs on that surface there. I'm thinking neutral spine, straight line to the top of my head, rib cage down. Staying super tight. Few more seconds. Relaxing. Now we're going to switch sides. We're going to do the exact same thing. Once you get your feet in position and your upper arm straight up and down like so, you're going to bridge up at the hips. And we're going to hold this position for another 20 seconds here. Want to stay tight. You don't want to be hanging out on that shoulder blade. You want that shoulder blade to protract, really pushing towards the ground as you're squeezing in towards your torso. It's really just all about tightness and a neutral spine. few more seconds here. Relaxing. That is a tough side plank variation for sure. So if you don't feel like you're getting it right away, it's no worries. You can totally regress to a little bit of an easier leg position or just do side plank from the ground. Seriously, it's all good for you. That one is maybe the toughest side plank variation I know. So don't worry too much about that. We're going to do each of these exercises one more time. All right, arms by your sides, knees up, big bracing breath, sticking those back ribs to the ground, and we're doing this little march here. That's 1. That's 2. I find pointing the toes up on this one too, towards the top of the foot, helps keep tightness, reminds me to keep that 90-degree angle. That's 4. Keep resetting that breath as need be. 5. Keep that lower rib cage filled up. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Okay. One last time on these Copenhagen side planks, whatever variation that you choose. Okay? Nice straight line, super tight, bridging up at the hips. Keep clamping those feet or shins or knees together wherever you're at. A few more seconds here. And relax. Gonna switch sides. Exact same thing. Last time here, bridging up. And just holding this, staying super tight. Thinking about squeezing this elbow in here. It's a big help. We got those ribs down. Nice straight line from the bottom of the feet to the top of the head. Keep squeezing those feet together. We're almost there. Relax. All right, nice work. That was a tough little set of core bracing exercises. I'm gonna grab a little sip of water and we'll talk about what we're gonna do today. So like I said, upper body pull day. In case you weren't here yesterday, kind of shifted gears this week, focusing on sets of 8 because we're going after hypertrophy or muscle growth rather than endurance. But accordingly, because I don't have a ton of weight in the apartment here, I'm actually messing with tempo. So really slowing down the tempos on some exercises and making them quite a bit more challenging and really helping with that hypertrophy stuff, okay? So it's just gonna be 3 exercises today. We're gonna start with some rows, some bent over rows. Then we're gonna get into some split squats. And then we're gonna get into some upright rows. And they're all gonna have a tempo element as well, which I'll basically just explain as we go through, no big deal. All you're gonna have to do is follow along. We're gonna do 8 reps of each of those. The split squats, 8 per side, of course. And we're just gonna do 3 big sets. And that's it. We will keep the rest periods a little bit shorter than we normally would with this kind of work, just to kind of strike a balance and get that cardio in there as well. Okay? So, with those bent over rows, I'm gonna use both a band and a ball. It doesn't really matter. Geez, this skylight's really getting me. It doesn't really matter what equipment you approach this with. You can totally just do this with dumbbells or like one big kettlebell. You'll see all that matters is the form. So I'm just combining what I have for a little extra resistance. So in case you've got a similar thing, I'm just gonna step on both parts of that band. My stance is gonna be just about shoulder width, maybe a little narrower. And then what I do is I actually just sneak my wrist right through the band like so, and then I can actually hold the ball in a nice tight grip. So I'm basically hinged over here, right? To get into this hinge, I just pushed my butt back. I didn't bend at the spine. I'm gonna take a big bracing breath. I'm gonna keep my shoulders back so my spine is neutral, but my back and my core are all nice and tight. And from here, I'm just gonna squeeze the elbows into the side. But then on the way down, it's gonna be a 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then up on a 1 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's where that tempo comes in, on the lowering or on the negative movement. Okay, so you're gonna feel, especially if you're using a band or just the weights, they're gonna really want to pull you down. So it's gonna take quite a bit of concentration and effort to slow down that process, okay? And then you're just gonna come up at a normal, fast speed. All right, so let's get braced, let's get ready to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 4. Slow, 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 slow. We got 2 more. And relax it. So you see how that really spices things up a bit, eh? All right, we're going to take a similar approach in terms of tempo to the split squats here. The split squats are going to be goblet style. I'm going to face this way so the sun isn't blasting me so much. All right, so goblet style, we're holding the weight like so, nice and close to the chest. The elbows are tucked in. Now, split squat is also known as a static lunge, so that's like a little hint on how to set up. You get into that sort of lunge position as deep as you want it. If you go too wide, then you're kind of messing things up a little bit. So you don't want to be super narrow, but you don't want to be super wide either. From here, I'm basically driving through the heel of the front foot, but it's all about the lower on this one. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and up like so. So you notice I'm basically up on the big toe on that back foot there, right? On this foot, I want to clamp down with the big and little toe for balance, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Slow, 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 slow. 5. Slow, 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 slow. 6. We got 2 more. 7. 8. You get a nice big toe stretch in that back foot, eh? It's actually good for you. Okay, if in case you didn't notice, I had a neutral spine. I have my core nice and tight, ribs down. That pretty much applies to almost every exercise we do. And any exercise where it doesn't apply, I'll let you know. Okay, staying super tight. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 6. Slow, 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 slow. 7. Last one. Okay, and the third exercise, going to be some upright rows. So you may be wondering, why am I doing pull and then more pull when I usually do push in this situation? Well, this is actually an interesting one because while it's definitely a pull, we get the chance to work the deltoids as well, which we don't usually when we do a pull movement. So it's a bit of a hybrid exercise, and we get a little bit of nice shoulder work in there, which is why I'm switching this one in there. Okay, so I'm just going to stand on the band. You can do this with a bar or 2 dumbbells in your hands like so. I'm going to grab the band like that. So you're going to start with that pronated grip, okay? So that's how you're going to hold your hands, okay? I'm going to keep my knees nice and soft, no big deal there. Core's tight, spine's neutral. From here, what I'm doing is I'm basically rowing just beneath the chin there. So I'm going to walk back a little bit here. I got my shoulders back and down. My shoulders aren't going to shrug. My elbows are going to come up, like so. That's the idea. But, of course, we're introducing that tempo. So I come up nice and fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice controlled lower. 1, 2, 3, 4. With this band, not so intense. Depending on the weight you have, could be a very intense exercise. And maybe start a little bit lower when we're working with this tempo stuff. And just make sure you control that lower as much as possible. So we're going to do 8 of these, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 3. Slow, 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 slow. 4. 5. 6. 7, 8. We're going to take a little bit of a breather before we hit that circuit again. We want this rest period to be a little bit longer than the rest that I would normally take in my programs if you've been following along the past couple of months, because I was really getting a lot of cardio and muscular endurance in there. But now that we're shifting focus, we want a little bit more time for rest and recovery, because we want these sets not to fatigue us necessarily. We don't want to be exhausted at the end of the workout. We want these sets to be of high intensity, and we want to have 8 really solid reps. We don't want to be going to like 12 and we're exhausted by 10 and we just kind of like squeak the last couple out. That's not the idea when you're working on hypertrophy. Okay, so let's do some rows. Maybe I'll try over here this time. I won't get quite so shined on. All right. So once again, we're going to do that nice controlled lower with whatever equipment you're working with. Hopefully you got something a little bit simpler than what I've rigged up here, okay? So let's start getting in that hinge position, shoulders back, core's nice and tight. I don't want to let that midsection sag, okay? I want to keep that spine nice and neutral. Knees bent, butt's kind of back. All right. Slow, 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 slow. That's 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. I don't know why I went to 9, but I did. Just kind of lost track there. Hopefully you stopped at 8. Okay, split squats time. Let's get into that. Static lunge, all right. Remember, we're driving primarily through the front foot. Gotta control that lower, okay? Core nice and tight. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. Switch legs here. All right, same deal. Stay tight. That's 4, we're halfway. 5. 6. 7. 8. Good stuff. Let's hit those upright rows. Let me get a little rest. All right, get yourself situated. Remember, shoulders back and down. Elbows nice and high. Hands end up around the collarbone area, okay? All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1. Slow, 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 slow. That's 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. All right. A little bit of a breather here. Just got one more big set like that. Nice and slow. And that's it. Then we're going to be done for the day. Just breathing slowly in through the nose. Big, full, slow exhale out through the mouth. Best way to get your heart rate down. All right, let's do this. We got one more. All right. Remember, you want to kind of hinge into this position, right? Pushing that butt back. Now I got my shoulders nice and back, tight. I got my core tight as well. I'm going to keep that tightness. Squeeze those elbows into the side. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Good stuff. Last round of split squats. These are tough stuff, so let's hang in there for one more. Core's tight, all right? Slow lower. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. All right, let's switch it up. Same deal. 1. A little too wide there. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. Good stuff, folks. Last exercise here, okay? Address that band or that weight. You want to keep shoulders back and down. Elbows are going to be nice and high. Core's tight, ribs down. Nice and controlled lower. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. And 8. That's it, folks. You're done. Great work. Thanks for joining me in my stay-at-home workout. I'll be back tomorrow with more. Tomorrow's going to be hip hinge day, so that'll be lots of fun, lots of hard work there. In the meantime, cool down, foam roll if you've got it, and make some time for recovery. Get your protein. I'll see you tomorrow. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe for more. Take care.